Welcome to Alaska Weather, a production of Alaska Public Media and the National Weather Service, Alaska Region. Produced and broadcast daily from the studios of KAKM, Alaska Weather provides complete forecasts, public, marine, and aviation for all of Alaska. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.
Hello again, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us for this Saturday's edition of Alaska Weather. I'm Dave Percy. The web change still on schedule to take place here for the Alaska Aviation Weather Unit for Friday, the 14th of July, 2017. And web address there is www.weather.gov/Alaska. And take the time to explore the new links, maps, check out the PIREPs, the TAFs, terminal aviation forecasts, and other forecasts that you may be using. And emails on this change are greatly appreciated. Moving on to the satellite imagery for today, still clouds, well, low pressure here, Gulf of Alaska, southern Gulf of Alaska, southeast flow, south to southeast flow, lots of moisture, periods of clouds and rain rolling across the southeast coast, coming back up to the northwest, taking a turn to the east here, quite a mass of clouds over southeast Alaska with some pretty good precipitation, quite a rain producer in this area here with lighter amounts to the north and to the south, but moderate rain occurring today throughout the day over areas, especially the upslope areas here of the western Copper River Basin down into toward Prince William Sound, and otherwise back to the west, still in some sunshine, partly to mostly sunny or cloudy depending on where you are here in the southwest, as this front tries to approach, but running into the easterly flow carrying this moisture back to the west, so really having trouble even getting the high clouds to the southwest coast there, but back to the west, lots of IFR, low clouds, fog, rain, and drizzle from the Pribilofs on down across the Alaska Peninsula and somewhat up towards St. Lawrence Island, but the entire Bering Sea pretty much cloud covered, very typical summertime pattern there, low clouds and fog all the way out to Shimmy, the Komodorskis, looks like even out to the Russian coast there, Kamchatka. Different story up north, lots of sunshine, warm temperatures. Central interior, got the high stuff, high and mid-level clouds moving into the Tanana Valley, but good sunshine there from the Yukon Flats, the Brooks Range, North Slope, and even the eastern Arctic coast catching some sun. Still catching clouds and maybe a little bit of moisture there on the central and western Arctic coast with a boundary just a little farther to the north there, but quite weak. And for the back down to the Gulf of Alaska, this slow-moving system persisting here, so surges of moisture continuing to move northward and northwestward, and then a drier northwest flow back here from Bristol Bay down across Kodiak Island. Still some clouds, Shelikof Strait, but you can see clearing out there on the east and southeast side of the island. And on the chart today, we've got this front farther to the west there, very close to the Pribilofs, extending down across the Alaska Peninsula. A little breezy in advance of that, but nothing too strong, maybe 15 to possibly as high as 25 miles an hour. And that's about it with rain and fog. Much more of a weather factor there. Again, St. Paul, St. George to the Nelson Lagoon area, and then cuts off pretty dramatically. This may be a little too far to the east as far as the rainfall goes here on the peninsula, and then you're into some sunshine areas of there for Bristol Bay, and then all this moisture, thunderstorms mostly here over the eastern interior from north of the Alaska Range on out on up to the north or to the northern edge of the cloud shield, and then on into Canada. So as of mid-afternoon, not too extensive yet. Could get some stuff right through here firing up, possibly, actually could be going on right now, maybe even up over the eastern Brooks Range. Otherwise, surface high pressure kind of signifying cool air mass both at the surface and aloft, as opposed to any good sinking motion that would cut the showers off. So a lot of cloud showers still across the southeast coast there. And up to the north, again, maybe some showers or a little bit of light stuff here, central western Arctic coast with some good sunshine there from the north slope to the eastern coastal areas. Forecast for tonight, not much change up there. Light wind conditions basically, a little breezy on the east side, but low clouds and fog possible anywhere along the Arctic coast. Maybe not quite as great a chance on the west side here. And it should be clear again tonight, this evening, overnight tonight for the North Slope, Brooks Range. Start picking up some clouds south of the mountains there and some leftover showers up here over the northeast areas. Thunderstorms, rain, heavy at times, moving slowly westward here across, looks like the heaviest rainfall will be up across the northern Susitna Valley up to about, the south side of, or the Denali Highway area. Pulling westward, could see a half to inch of rain falling, especially even possibly heavier amounts in the upslope areas there. They'll be slowly shifting westward, so a wet night coming up here, all of Cook Inlet and the Kenai Peninsula. Breaking out though late tonight as this dry slot behind starts pulling in westward across the Copper River Basin, possibly clearing out some, probably will clear out some here over the Wrangles, say from North Etoka on down, maybe even the North Gulf Coast, kind of in between. Next surge of moisture here pulling more rain and showers, pretty continuous now and across the central and southern southeast coast, getting more showery up toward Juneau. And this front again here really not quite making it to the coast with a precip, Cape Nuna, maybe possibly Macoriac, Nunivak Island. Otherwise low clouds, fog, northern Bering Strait areas with areas of IFR all the way up into the Chukchi Sea. And then a little bit better back to the west there with that low pressure system really not moving too much there, very close to the Pribilofs. And for tomorrow, it does pull a little bit to the east late in the afternoon there to roughly about this position, or it could be back a little to the west some yet, but about 1,002 millibars. And again, not much of a wind producer at all going on here, but southwest flow, lots of clouds, showers, rain a lot less continuous, winds more west-southwest here. The band of winds, southeast winds now shifts eastward from about Kodiak Island up into the southwest interior areas, 15, maybe 25 miles per hour. Lighter winds to the north there. This area of moisture now slowly moving westward in across the central northern Kuskokwim Valley. Could see some pretty good rainfall amounts along the eastern slopes of the western Alaska Range, but beginning to become definitely more showery tomorrow afternoon over the Susitna-Matanuska Valley's northern Cook Inlet. South of, say, Turnagain Arm, though, it's going to hang on with the rain and showers probably throughout much of the afternoon, gradually tapering off over toward Seward. Breaking out, hopefully there, Cordova, maybe Valdez, seeing some sunshine tomorrow afternoon, definitely the Copper River Basin. Tanana Valley looking really good there with mostly sunny skies, highs back into the 70s, maybe into the lower 80s. Convection right up through here now along the, and just south of the Brooks Range, or mostly in along the mountains there. Isolated to scattered thunderstorm activity with more clouds, but the north slope looking pretty good. No change up along the Arctic coast there with easterly winds starting to increase a little bit there. Not so much tomorrow as they will on Monday. It'll be definitely into the small craft advisory or brisk wind advisory levels. Otherwise, more rain for the southeast coast. And for Monday, a break coming in late tomorrow night, or late tomorrow night, and continuing into Monday here, mostly over the central areas. Could see some sunshine, maybe a few breaks, still a chance of the showers up Lynn Canal, Glacier Bay area, and the eastern North Gulf Coast there, say right around Yakutat, chance of showers, thunderstorms a little to the north. Any chance of convection will be along that trough there. Over the central interior areas, the White Mountains back to the northwest, nothing too widespread or significant there, but that'll be the best chance of seeing any. Over the inland areas, otherwise a much drier day now here for the south central Alaska, actually northern Cook Inlet. Northward there, Susitna Valley, Copper River Basin still looking good. Lots more sunshine now for the Kuskokwim Valley back out toward the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta as that area of moisture kind of just dissipates and drops southwestward here, wrapping back into that low center. So dry day coming up here for those, it's going to get rain soaked currently and on into tomorrow. Otherwise, more rain starting to approach the Prince of Wales Island coastline here in the late afternoon associated with this front. And that'll probably continue to move north and northeast throughout the evening hours. On Monday, high pressure back, or weak high pressure here, or just a lack of storminess over the Bering Sea on the central and eastern areas. So lots of low clouds, fog, maybe some lingering showers to the Alaska Peninsula, drizzle possible St. Lawrence Island from that area north, IFR conditions right up to the northwest coast. And eastward there on the Arctic coast, winds now gusting up to possibly 30 knots there for the eastern Beaufort Sea coast. Out to the west, we've got 25-knot winds coming into the western Aleutians here from the south with warm front type weather, which means IFR to low IFR, rain, drizzle, and fog. Temperatures this afternoon, southeast coast looking like this, 50s, except 70 over at Stewart, otherwise 59 Kawak, 52 Elfin Cove, back up to 59 Skagway, lower 50s North Gulf Coast, all the clouds and rain, 50 degrees Gulkana, mid 50s northern Cook Inlet through the Matanuska and Susitna Valley, but up to 60 at Homer, back down to 58 Kodiak, lower 60s northeast Bristol Bay, 70s, mid 70s there for the Fairbanks area to near 80 at Tanana, lower 80s up to the north at Bettles, Fort Yukon, 85 degrees, a warm spot in Eagle, and 75 up at Arctic Village with actually 70s in across the north slope, falling back to 63 at New Ixit, and 40s right along the coastline, 50s lower 60s to the northwest, and we've got 70s right down the Yukon, Kuskokwim River valleys to Bethel at 71 degrees, falling back to 61 at Makoriak, 53 Savunga, upper 40s for the Pribilofs, Adak and Atka, 45 there for Shimya, otherwise up 10 degrees from that at Unalaska with lower 50s warming into the mid 60s for Bristol Bay. And for the lows tonight, quite mild, 55 to 60 or near 60 here at Yukon Valley, all the way back, mid 50s falling back to a little below 50 there for the coast, otherwise 40s for the Arctic coast, lower 50s for the North Slope, really mild night there. Same thing for the Panhandle. And highs tomorrow back into the 70s, lower 80s, as I mentioned here, central interior northward, even the North Slope, and 60s out toward the coast, but not quite making it. Lower 50s for the Bering Sea and the Aleutians, and mid to upper 50s for the Panhandle. Flying weather, IFR developing tonight, already there actually here on the upslope areas of the Alaska Range, and then another batch here along the coastal zones, western Prince William Sound to northeast Prince William Sound down the Kenai Peninsula. IFR east side of the Panhandle, lots of IFR out over the Bering Sea, the Alaska Peninsula, central eastern Arctic coast. For tomorrow afternoon, no change up there. Still some IFR showing up on the Alaska Range here, mostly the southern area. So Lake Clark and Merrill, possible IFR on the eastern approaches. Not much change for the Panhandle, and lots of lower stuff out over the Bering Sea. But going for VFR, the aviation forecast is for VFR for St. Lawrence Island tomorrow. And for passes Anatuvik and Adigan, both VFR again tomorrow, probably the next day as well. Lake Clark and Merrill could start out IFR here on the eastern approach, but that gradually improving slowly throughout the afternoon, so go marginal at times, or marginal definitely all day long for both passes. Rainy, same thing, less of a chance of some IFR tomorrow afternoon. Windy, marginal, Isabel, marginal, improving to VFR, and Mentasta might start out marginal early, but definitely looks VFR most of the day. And for Tanita, low conditions improve to VFR in the late afternoon, and Portage, marginal. Chilcoot and White, IFR, slowly becoming marginal. And for the freezing level, 6,000 feet, cold pool off now shifting eastward. Tomorrow morning, late tonight, about this position, they're off the coast, 6,000 to 8,000 feet, 10,000 feet holding over the interior, falling back a little bit, not much out over the Bering Sea. Icing threats, a couple of batches here, Kodiak Island, across the Alaska Peninsula, another one inland. This with that area moisture currently coming westward. And then more icing threats of the light to very isolated moderate rime type there above about 10,000 feet for the southeast coast. Jet stream well to the south across the Pacific, and then wraps around, takes a turn from the southeast. So this whole area here, an easterly flow carrying those easterly waves westward, and ridging now, kind of retreating back to the northwest a little bit. And for 9,000 feet, we've got a band of 25 to 30 knot winds right through here across Bristol Bay, the Aleutian Range, falling back, but up along the southeast coast or the southwest coast, much lighter here over the interior. Light winds for the Panhandle, 10 to 15. Easterlies, 20 knots now along the Arctic coast. Light winds out over the Aleutians. And for turbulence, light to isolated moderate chop here, Fognak Island, maybe the Aleutian Range with those stronger winds now shifting northeastward, and then westerlies producing a little bit of turbulence, possibly light to very isolated moderate for the Fox Islands, and maybe Lynn Canal Glacier Bay, possibly areas of the Arctic coast where it's a little breezier, Bering Strait to St. Lawrence Island. After the break, I'll be back with a look at the marine forecasts.
Working, traveling, or playing on the water is a way of life for Alaskans. But Alaska's cold water and harsh conditions can quickly turn any boating trip into a life-threatening emergency. Unlike marine mammals with their natural insulation and buoyancy, humans can't survive in Alaska's water without additional flotation and protection from the cold. Immersion suits are designed to provide the flotation and insulation a person's life depends on in a cold water emergency. Immersion suits, sometimes called survival suits, have been around for a long time. Today, there are a wide variety of sizes and designs available. There is no best brand of immersion suit. All should meet United States Coast Guard standards and have a label inside indicating Coast Guard approval. Having a Coast Guard approved immersion suit on board is just the first step. For an immersion suit to protect you in the water, it must fit correctly, be properly maintained, and be stored in an accessible location. You must also practice putting on your immersion suit quickly to make sure you can do so in an emergency. Commercial fishing vessels operating in cold waters are required to have an immersion suit of the proper size for each individual on board. The only way to find your correct size is to try on an immersion suit. Make sure it'll fit over the clothes that you typically wear on deck. Check to make sure the hood seals around your face, that your hands fit into the gloves, and that the suit will not ride up over your head. If it does, large amounts of water can enter through the hood, decreasing your chances for survival. If you are a between-sized person, try another brand of suit. One brand may be cut too large for you, while another brand may fit perfectly. In an emergency, you must be able to identify the correct size of immersion suit quickly. If there are different sizes of suits on board, mark them with easily recognized objects such as a whistle, a light, or some additional reflective tape. This will aid in quick identification, especially at night.
Hey Pat, how are you doing?
Hey Jerry, how are you doing?
Oh, pretty good. Broke the zipper on my suit, so I guess I need to get another suit for this trip.
Well, you bet. We got them right here.
When buying a new immersion suit, take a moment to examine the features and make sure it fits you. All immersion suits have a waterproof zipper. This is one of the most important features of the suit. Take a moment to make sure the zipper works smoothly and has a handle that is easy to grab. Immersion suits come with a wide variety of gloves to suit individual preferences. 3 or 5 fingered gloves are common, but may be difficult to work in. Removable gloves provide the most dexterity, but they are difficult to keep watertight and often cause your hands to get cold quickly. Try out different gloves to determine which type best meets your needs. Pockets for lights and other survival gear are an important feature on an immersion suit. On some brands, you can add pockets which zip into the flotation collar or slide over the arm. All immersion suits have a face flap that protects your nose and mouth. Some have Velcro attached to the back of the face flap to hold it open while donning the suit. Many immersion suits also have one-way exhaust valves built into the legs. These valves are designed to let air out without letting water in. They're intended to prevent trapped air from causing a person to float head down in the water. To be Coast Guard approved, an immersion suit must include the following items. It must have 62 square inches of retroreflective tape placed so it can be seen when a person is floating in the water. It must have a light with a dated battery. It must have a pillow or a collar that provides additional flotation. This additional flotation is very important in rough seas. The flotation collar is inflated by pressing down on the tip of the hose with your mouth and blowing air into it. When the tip is released, the valve closes and air can't escape. Make sure the tip of the hose moves freely without sticking. If the hose has a locking nut, make sure it is always set in the open or down position. Finally, Coast Guard regulations require immersion suits to be marked with the name of the vessel or the owner of the suit. Ask your immersion suit manufacturer for the type of marking ink they recommend. Immersion suits should be inspected at least once each month. If properly maintained, they will last many years. The zipper on an immersion suit should receive careful attention during each inspection. Green on the zipper is a sign of corrosion. To remove corrosion, try cleaning the zipper with a toothbrush and a slurry of baking soda and water. Rinse with fresh water. If any green is still present, repeat the process. If this doesn't remove all the corrosion, immediately remove the suit from service and send to a factory-authorized facility for repair. Immersion suit zippers need to be regularly lubricated with a non-petroleum lubricant recommended by the manufacturer. Spread the lubricant on all sides of the zipper. Be sure and lubricate the locking teeth on the back of the zipper. Slide the zipper up and down a few times to spread the lubricant evenly. Don't forget to lubricate the snaps on the stowage bag to assure easy access to your suit when you need it. Inspect the suit for holes, rips, burns, and grease or oil. Carefully inspect the seams for leaks in the hands, crotch, and other areas. Repair any damaged seams with a sealant recommended by the manufacturer. Pull gently on the inflation hose to make sure it is not loose. At least once a year, inflate the flotation collar to make sure that it will hold air overnight. Check the light for any sign of corrosion. Make sure to use dated batteries and replace any that are expired or soon to expire. Test the light. Inspect the retroreflective tape. Yellow tape should be replaced. After using a suit in a swimming pool or in salt water, rinse it thoroughly with fresh water. It is best to dry your immersion suit in a well-ventilated area, out of the weather and out of the sun. To prevent destructive mold and mildew, it is important to dry both the inside and the outside of the suit. In the off-season, remove your immersion suit from the bag and store it indoors. This will keep the suit dry and allow the neoprene material to maintain its loft. It is highly recommended that suits be inspected once a year by an authorized service facility. Immersion suits must be stowed in an accessible location out of the weather. Look around your vessel and find the best place with ready access in all kinds of emergencies. The zipper should be stored in the open position with the zipper about an inch up from the bottom. This will allow the suit to be quickly donned in an emergency and give you room to work the zipper down if it jams. Put plastic bags in the suit so it will be easier to get your feet in quickly with boots or shoes on. Most suits should be rolled, not folded. Roll the suit up, beginning at the feet and moving up the legs. Be sure the face flap is left open, either inside the hood or attached outside to the hood on the pad provided with some brands of suits. Roll the hood over the body of the suit, fold the arms across, slide the suit into the bag, and snap the bag shut. A slightly different method is used for Bailey's immersion suits. Bailey's recommends their suit be folded along the line of the zipper. Fold the suit into thirds and place the suit inside the Bailey immersion suit bag.
Welcome back. Southwest winds at about 15 on the south coast, westerly 15 to 20 up north. Lynn Canal, northern Lynn Canal, south 20 in the afternoon, otherwise southerlies 10 to 15 on down toward Dixon Entrance. Outlook for Monday, south to southeast here, more southeast for Clarence Strait, turning southerly at about 15 for Stevens Passage. Small craft advisories now, that's probably in the afternoon for northern Lynn Canal. Light winds on the north coast, otherwise south 20, all the way down with 6 to 7 foot seas. Prince William Sound, light variable winds tomorrow. Same thing for the western North Gulf Coast. Otherwise, southwest 15, eastern Gulf Coast, southeast 15 for Cook Inlet, up to 20 knots for Kachemak Bay, and then back to southeast at 20, east side of Kodiak Island. Monday, those turn southerly at about 20 knots. Northeast 25 now for Chillicothe Strait. Small craft advisories there with 7 foot seas, 20 knot easterlies, Kachemak Bay and the Barrens. And light variable winds here for the North Gulf Coast, Prince William Sound, and northern Cook Inlet. Bristol Bay, southeast 25, good for small craft advisories tomorrow with 5 foot seas, otherwise 20 knot winds everywhere else. And then for Monday, northwest 15 up to 20 knots here on the Pacific side of the peninsula. West 15, Castle Cape to Sitkinak, light winds for Bristol Bay. Eastern Aleutians, southwest 20 to 25 knots there, strongest on the Pacific side. Westerly 20 knots, Adak and Atka falling back to 15 towards Shimia. Then small craft advisories, next system coming into the west there, so winds coming up out of the south here, seas building to 7 feet, 20 knots, Adak and Atka, 15 to 20 out of the west for Unalaska Island. Southwest coast, southeast 25, south of Nunivak Island, otherwise easterlies 20 up here across St. Matthew Island, northeast for St. Lawrence Island, and light and variable for the Pribilofs. And that pattern extends northward on Monday up to St. Matthew Island. Small craft advisories, north 25 for St. Lawrence Island, light northwesterlies for the remainder of the coast. Eastern Beaufort Sea coastline tomorrow, east winds 20 knots, seas in open water areas here, especially back this way, up to 4 feet. There's quite an open area back there toward Mackenzie Bay. Otherwise, east 15 on the central coast, turning north 20 down toward the Bering Strait. So from Wales to Cape Thompson, north 25, small craft advisories on Monday. Otherwise, 20-knot winds becoming easterly on the central coast. Back up to 30 knots, 25 increasing to 30 knots here, strongest toward demarcation point with those seas building to 8 feet. And for tonight, easterly breezes, and that's about it there. High pressure controlling the weather, so lots of low clouds and fog possible, especially with IFR. Central east side, sunny, warm conditions tonight from the north slope into the Brooks Range, with thunderstorms still lingering here, especially along that area. Moisture, rain heavy at times, pulling slowly westward there. Could see a ½ inch to another inch falling tonight here, and that will continue to pull slowly west tomorrow, but should start tapering off here, where you're going to see the most rain overnight tonight there. The northern Susitna Valley back toward the Matanuska Valley, mostly sunny for the Copper River Basin. Sunny, 70s, lower 80s for the interior. More rain for the Panhandle. Stays wet here along the southwest coast in Bristol Bay, and that whole thing slides eastward there, putting it right on top of Kodiak Island for Monday, and showers, scattered thunderstorms along that trough in the interior. Otherwise mostly sunny and warm, much drier south central Alaska, and a break coming up for the southeast coast, and more rain out west, way out west. Have a great evening.
These forecasts are to be used for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.